Hello everyone and welcome to the most entertaining Gran Turismo Sport channel on YouTube. My name is Mike Grove, aka Turismo-Groove, and you're watching my very first tutorial video for the brand new series, the GR Supra GT Cup. The first round takes place at Fuji International Speedway, 7 laps on 4/27, which is exactly 16 days from today. The finalists of this event will go to the Japanese International Auto Show and race in a world final event in front of a live crowd. So to get started, me and my teammate Lester have already done some very good laps here. As you can see, we are well ahead of most people, including some very quick guys like Hallman, like Cronus. So the thing to remember here is that it's not about how hard you attack this combo, it's about how patient you are with it, and we're going to show you that right now. Next coming up also in this series is going to be happening, I'm going to be making a strategy guide for the same combo. We have some high tire wear and fuel consumption rates on this combo, and I'm going to show you guys exactly how to get the best out of both of those. I know plenty of people who hate kind of trying to decipher their strategy ahead of the race, whether it's an hour before or a day before. They just hate doing it, they hate thinking about it. It's a lot of fun, but I can see how it can get annoying if you don't pick the right one, and I'm happy to show people what I think is the right way. And feel free to comment, let me know what you think is the right way. If you think a no stop is better on 23 tire wear, then so be it. I'd love to see it happen. So getting down to business here, Fuji is an extremely technical, expert level circuit. To master this track takes a lot of time, but today we're going to quickly run through the finer points of getting a truly hot lap and discuss some of the techniques that I use as well to achieve that. So right about there is the first break point. It's about 175 meters from turn 1. I brake in a completely straight line, and I do hold my gears for quite a while. As you can see on the braking, I held the gears a little longer than you would in like a race car or something. That helps me with the engine braking. As you can see now as well, I'm taking a very wide line into the hairpin at turn 1. It requires very hard braking to get this outside perspective angle to work. It also requires you to very much so modulate the throttle, as you can see. I do clip that curb as I go by and lay apex this, and then try to modulate my throttle very carefully, about half throttle on every exit on the track. You'll see more and more as we go around how important that will be. Oh, so, okay, I got it. The brake point is right about there. A little bit after the 100, I'd really call it the 80, if you're really brave, 75 even. This corner is not too complicated. We're going to trail brake a little bit after a slight dab of heavy braking that I needed just to get the car slowed down. We do drop to 4th here for this apex. As you can see, I do shift it right back up to the next gear quite quickly. One last tip for that corner is just to really be careful with that understeer. Even in 4th gear, you can understeer. It's very important to use all of the track as you enter that corner. And now on to turn 3. So we approach the true double apex monster that is turn 3. Entering this with the perfect racing line and controlling the throttle position precisely is the best way to get through here. And even for someone like me who knows the track really well, although it's not my best track, even for me, I cannot do this corner consistently every time. Maybe in another day or two of doing this, I will though. And as we approach, you're going to see I stay pretty close to the inside the whole way through the first third or so of the corner. Right around here, I peep this little thing on the grass here, this little mark. Who knows what that is? I'm not even sure if that's there normally, but that is about where I begin to lift off the throttle, as you can see. You don't brake at this corner, but you do lift, and you never really get too close to the inside while never getting towards the middle at the same time until you reach about the halfway point, and you do kind of let the car drift a little bit. And that is because of the shape of this corner. The second apex of the double apex is much tighter, and therefore you need to stick tight to it to be ready for this left-hander at turn 4. So really pay attention to how careful I will be on my throttle for this, so let it play through, and just observe the definition of patience with my right foot. It may seem way too slow, but that's miles faster than some of my runs that weren't as clean. So that brings us to turn 4, a very hard braking zone, a very tight hairpin, has a little bit of downhill camber as well, and the keys here are to clip that apex, clip the curb, enter from wide enough that you can lay apex it and carry as much speed as possible around the exit. Like I said, for the double apex, you need to finish all the way right to really exit this corner properly. If you're not all the way right, you're very likely to understeer even farther than I just did right there. So I'll replay it again with the throttle control. Once again, being extremely careful to not overstep my throttle limits. So that brings us down to the hill. I'll quickly pause here and make a note. There's really no point to go wide to the curves or use more of the track than I am using here. You really won't gain any time. You're making a longer distance for yourself going wider than that. The break point for this corner is right about here, right about 10 yards in front of that yellow Dunlop sign. I brake in a straight line, very similar to turn 1, where I'm going for ultimate late braking, trying to get all the momentum of my car pushed to the front of the nose, kind of like the previous corner we just had. You want to have all that weight pushed straight to the front to help you angle the car's momentum around the corner. As you'll see, I'll be very, very precise with my throttle here, and the whole goal is to link up turn 5 in front of me and turn 6 after right here. I consider them one big chicane in reality, because if you don't get far enough right at the end of turn 5, you won't make turn 6 properly. So let's just see it real quick. Like I said, we will clip this curb. I will brake late. I will apex very late. And I will be very keen to get to the right side of the track afterwards with a very aggressive turn in. Like you'll see, I eat a big chunk of curb here. And then I'm back on it. Very carefully, but back on it. Honestly, the more patient you are there, the better you will do. So now we come to the final section, turns 7, 8, and 9, as I like to refer to them. So I use these curbs on the left, as you see here, as my kind of reference for where to hit the brakes. The key is to go a little further and a little wider than I do for all three of these. As I mentioned before, I think my time could have beaten Lester's time had I nailed all three of these. So as you see, I turned in a little earlier. You should be turning in about here, I would say. Not quite so early like me. And also, you'll want to be a little more, you want to spend a little more time in fourth gear as you're through this corner. I went straight to third immediately using my throttle modulation techniques, but a little longer in third to the apex would have been better. So this corner is another tricky one. 7, 8, and 9 are all very similar shape, as you can see from the graph of the map. I want to point out at 7 and 8 that you definitely need to late apex them, like later than you think, especially that one I just went through, and then especially this one. All three of them are just the kind of corner you have to go out past the apex to even get to where you want to go. So I do a little bit of braking in fourth gear here to slow it down. By the time I drop to third, it's like really nicely evening out the momentum, but because I turned in so early, the whole corner is kind of a mess. I'll show you guys where you should turn in, just like I did before. As you can see, more half throttle getting it done here. And as you can see, I do some braking in fourth. I slow the car down in fourth, but then don't go wide enough. I turn in too early. As you can see again, I'll pause it right here. You should be turning in more like over here, and your car really should be more like over here. Not out here on the curb, but another couple feet to the right. You want to take a line that is more like, as you can see, a much flatter, more even line on the outside rather than this kind of big crest here on the inside that completely unsettles my car and causes some of this. That's not good. But at least no penalties. And finally, we are at the last corner. Same sort of thing where I use this outside curb as a reference for myself. You should go a little farther than I did. You should turn in a little later than I did. And also, just remember that this needs to be a very, very late apex with a lot of throttle control on this one. So as you'll see, I'm being careful. And now that we've gone through it all, let's go through it all one more time with quick narration. With the hand showing, so you see it's just not that easy. Braking at 175, straight on the brakes. Downshifting slowly, turning in late, clipping that curb, and modulating my throttle on the way out. A bunch of steps, all in one motion. This car demands that kind of attention to detail. Once again here, braking around 80 meters. Going down to fourth for a moment, just to give us some more turn-in ability. Straight back to fifth because that's where all the torque is at. I stayed tight to the first apex of turn 3. I let it drift when I pass that little gray mark, and then I bring it right back in with the throttle. The throttle is what drives me into the corner. You need to be all the way to the right with that throttle because it lines you up for turn 4. You need to lay apex this and aggressively turn in to hit that curb. And be careful with that throttle, guys. It's important. It's like feathering throttle versus being smooth and applying it like that. feathering is always going to be slower. So brake at the Dunlop sign about 5 meters early. Brake very slowly, downshifting your gears. Get as far right as you can after turn 5 to line you up nice for turn 6 on the way out. And be careful with that throttle again. Lining up for turn 7, 8, 9, we use the curves as a reference. Turn in later than me, apex later than I did too, on all 3. Definitely use more road than I do there. Never ever try to touch that inside curve, because that's what's going to happen. In the end, I salvaged the lap. I really do think it could have been 2-3 tenths faster based on these 3 corners. All 3 of them I dropped a little bit of time in, but overall, I'm pretty satisfied with what I got off light practice. And it makes me look forward to this event. You know, I think I could do all right. I want everybody who watches this to do well. I want you all to see the next video, so make sure you like and subscribe everything, and you'll be the first ones to see that new video when it comes out. I'm going to go in great detail with exactly how to get the best out of the tires and the fuel in this combo. I really think we're going to have to do a lot of short shifting, a lot of fuel saving, just to make it ahead of the guy behind us. It's going to be more about saving fuel than going fast to some degree. So here are my sectors in case you're wondering. My sector 3 should be beatable, so that be a number for you guys to all target, but that's pretty much going to wrap it up for today. I would expect the next video with the strategy tutorials to come out by Friday, maybe Saturday, but in any case, I will catch you later, guys. If you have any questions or whatever, hit me up at Turismo-Groove on PSN, or MikeGrove5 on Instagram. I have a lot of followers coming in on Instagram every day. I'd love to have more. I share quite a bit on there too, a lot more going forward as well. I really appreciate whoever watched this video, especially the ones who got all the way to the end, and good luck to all of you guys in your practice and preparation for this series. Let's all have as much fun as we can possibly have in this. And remember, that's what it's all about. Later, guys. Have a great evening.